criked him or something. Or was criking him. He's great, but he's obsolete, so we can't get parts for him anymore. We can sell a lot of them. Airman is half a guy. He's a difficult airway simulator. That's what he's for. Okay. He is hooked up to air, so he's pneumatically driven. This is his control box. Okay, so this will already be set up for you. Okay. We're going to leave him intubated or extubated. It doesn't matter because you're going to be re-intubating him a few times anyway. There's 3 different scenarios in this lab for him. Okay, control box, and there's your little controller. Okay, so it's great to work in a group of 3 or 4. One person is going to be the RT looking after this fella. Another person will be someone that's going to help, because you're going to need help. And one person gets to hold the magic controller and do bad things. And you'll all get a chance to play with this. We've got a pulse oximeter on his finger. This will give you heart rate and saturation. Okay, that's what this will display for you. So I'm just going to turn this on. I'm going to move him a little bit so you can see what's going on here. So you can see that okay? So sat on the top, heart rate on the bottom. This little controller here, all the directions for what button you should be pushing is in there. So there is a beep volume, if that's driving you nuts. It's find the silence button, always. Okay. You could turn it on low, okay. But it always comes on really, really loud. Okay. Right now he is apneic. There is an apnea button. We can increase and decrease sats. So when you decrease the saturation, heart rate goes along with it. Okay. Or we can say 100%. And it comes right back up. There is a can't intubate, can't ventilate button. Can't intubate, can ventilate. There's 2, can't and can. There's trismus. So, see his jaw lock up? So right now his jaw is like super tight. And then there's a reset button, so we can reset it. We can do pharyngeal obstruction, so the back of the throat. Cervical range of motion, we can make his neck go really tight. Okay, so that's like he was in a collar. His neck is stiff right now. You won't be able to move his neck. Okay, we'll reset that. We can do pneumothorax, right lung or left lung, or both. Okay, so it does a whole bunch of different things. We can take him out of apnea and actually have him breathing. And we can increase his rate. So right now he is breathing. All right, I'm going to make him apneic again. And I'm going to turn the off. He has just a little tag here to remind us that only tubes less than 7.5, and no PEEP, no chest compressions. Okay, because it will blow his lungs apart, as someone in our faculty found out. By doing chest compression. Not going to name any names. Starts with A. Goes, oh darn, I used him when I was doing CPR. Damn it. He's all better now. He does have a rip in his tongue that Janine is in the midst of trying to fix, or put another patch over it. The patch came off. So we're just putting a new patch on it. So glide scope only for this fella. Tongue edema will not work because of the hole in his tongue. Plus we've disconnected it, so it won't work anyway. All right. So airman, we've got suction. You'll need to set up suction. Closed suction for him. Okay. It goes through the objectives for this lab. There's 3 different scenarios. There's a story for every scenario. Ventilator settings for the 840, and how you're going to manipulate the controller. Okay. The tubes that you use for this can either be the regular tubes, and also there'll be a couple of tubes with a yellow banding on them. If you see these in any of the intubation boxes, they shouldn't be in the intubation boxes. They should be with airman. Okay, so they're wrecked tubes. Okay, this one has an issue with it. So does this one, because it's got the yellow band on it. Okay, this is a leaky tube. This one's got a huge leak. Okay, so you're going to intubate it with our problem tubes and then go through the scenarios with it. Okay, so this is our cuff leak tube. I think that's the second scenario. It says 7.5. It doesn't matter what size it is. That has a cuff leak. And okay. The first scenario is a plug tube. So the endotracheal tube he has in has got a big wad in it. Okay, so you'll set up the ventilator. Put them on the ventilator. Okay. And then read the story through. Okay, so for this one, Kenny intubated and mechanically ventilated patient in the ICU. Patient is ventilated for post-surgical complications. Because this tube is plugged, when you go to hook them up to the ventilator, it'll just keep alarming. Okay, so you may want to wait till you read the story before you hook up your ventilator, okay? Just have it all ready to go. Patient's currently stable, full ventilatory support. History is identify this patient as a difficult airway per report for anesthesia. So if he is extubated, it's going to be a difficult intubation. Okay. Patient sedated. Suddenly you notice low tidal volume, mid-volume ventilator alarm sounding. Patient's display started to drop. You rush to bedside to assess the intervention. Okay, to intervene. And then on the next page are all the control settings. So RT number 1 has got the controller. Okay, tells you what button to initiate. So initiate the cannot ventilate. Control on the airman. And then RT number 2's actions, what are they doing? Quick assessment, try to suction, and follow the directions for that particular one. Tells you when you can reset everything. As soon as the second RT has taken the endotracheal tube out, and started to bag mask, the person with the controller can go reset all. Everything's back to normal again. Then you can go through a normal intubation. It'll be a difficult intubation. This is why we need to use the glide scope. Okay? And then go through your assessment for after intubation. Okay? And then when you go to move to the next one, extubate and reintubate with the cuff leak and run through that one. And then the third one is the tube's in too far. Okay, but it doesn't matter how far you put the tube in for that. The controls on the controller will make it look like it's only a right-sided intubation. Okay, just by the manipulations on the control box. We can make it look like a right-sided intubation. So for that one, it's just a normal endotracheal tube for the third one. Makes more sense when you can actually do it and kind of tell you what's going to happen.
Do you expect students not to have read through these beforehand?
What's that?
Do you expect students not to have read through these
I
beforehand?
would hope you have read through them first.
It's just like, you're going to see what's coming.
No, read through them first. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted a surprise,
Yeah,
then don't read them. But I was hoping you would read it first. Yeah. But they might have questions about, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, what am I supposed to intubate with? What am I supposed to, what are we doing? What you'll find is students will just start making up other stories, which is fine, which is great. If you make up other stories, perfect. There's more scenarios, right? These scenarios are very similar to what you're gonna see when you come in for your second set of simulations. So it's to prepare you for your simulations that you're going in for. Okay. Patient will be on a ventilator. Something's wrong with their airway. Work through it. How are you gonna troubleshoot your way through? What's the first thing you should do? What's the second thing you should do? What if you find you can't pass the suction catheter? What should you be doing? Patient sats are still dropping. You should be emergent extubation. Okay. Bag mask. Make sure you can get an airway. Make sure you can bag the mask. If you can't, put an OPA in. Okay. Set up for an intubation. If you've got good ventilation occurring with your bag and your mask and maybe an OPA, you've got all the time, and your sats are good, you've got all the time in the world to prepare for an intubation. Okay? That's where the other members of the group can come in. They can come in and get all of your intubation stuff set up so that you can re-intubate this patient with the glide scope. So it gives you more practice with the glide scope as well.